Aging, the one thing we dread but can't avoid, or can we? By 30, they tell you you're half off. By 25, you've hit your prime. No one wants the old lady, you better settle for what you can get. The clock's ticking, you better have that baby now. But they always neglect to put into the equation, what does that girl look like at 30, or 40, or even 50? And why do they want us to be so afraid of aging when it's the natural state of your life to get better with time? Christina Aguilera is in her 40s, and so is Paris. Lindsay just turned 38. And if your value declines with age, then why are they looking much better in their 40s than they did in their 20s? I'll tell you why. Because if you choose to not age naturally, then the rules don't apply. Suppose if you chose to age naturally and even exacerbated the aging process with unhealthy habits, smoking and drinking, then the rules might apply. Then you could start believing the bullshit they tell you. I met Paris last week and she looked better than ever. She actually looked a lot better in person. I wasn't expecting her to look bad. I mean, she looks great, but she actually looked way better in person. Super smooth skin, skinny and pretty. She looked better than she did in her 2000s, and that's saying a lot because she looked pretty damn good. Your skin is the first thing to give away your age. As we age, we lose collagen, it droops, it sags. Paris said it best in her book. If you get anything from reading that book, skincare, skincare, skincare. We know smoking, drinking, and sugar are the main culprits when it comes to aging, but mainly sugar is like the main culprit when it comes to bad skin. Quitting smoking and drinking are easy things to do, contrary to popular opinion, but when it comes to sugar, it's in everything, so it's hard to do. Imagine trying to quit a drug that you have to do every day. We have to eat every day, so it's a lot harder. While the best skincare will have you looking nice and beautiful even, the real meat to the sandwich when it comes to reversing aging is plastic surgery. Contrary to popular opinion, fillers and Botox are not preventative maintenance. Fillers and Botox are suspended maintenance. If you really want to reverse the aging process, you need surgery. And that's what preventative maintenance is. You're preventing your skin from being able to crease by removing certain aspects of the aging process. So for example, when you get a facelift, what they're doing is they're cutting away excess skin, pulling it up and tightening it so that it prevents your skin from creasing further. That's also what CO2 lasers do. They burn the first layer of skin on your face and then it shrinks, preventing it from stretching any further. God, you guys are talking shit. Why is there a fly in my kitchen giving me evil eyes? So for example, it's like putting a plastic hair tie in hot water after you've stretched it out and worn it a lot. It shrinks back to the original size. That's what happens when you do a CO2 laser to your face. Okay, so call me delusional, call me crazy, call me extreme, but I think the best thing you can do in your early 20s is get plastic surgery, but only if you need it. If you don't need it, don't bother opening that can of worms. A lot of people like to say Bella Hadid looks really old and like, what did she do to herself? She just looks like old, really old, but you can't deny she looks better. That face is stunning. And she's smart. What she did was preventative maintenance. Because if you think about it, she's alleged to have had a ponytail facelift. So by 40, because she's removed certain aspects of the aging process from being able to happen, she's gonna look amazing. She's not gonna look like your average 40-year-old. Youth and beauty are not synonymous. I know a lot of you guys think that because you're like in 21, like, oh my God, you're 25, you're so old. I know because you guys think that, you know, I'm young, I'm beautiful. No, it's not the case. The people will say, well, your looks will say, look at me, I was the hot stuff in my time. The only people who say that are ugly people who are reaping the repercussions of aging naturally and not doing anything about it. Think about why the blindness trends exist. Eyebrow blindness. We all were not perfect the first time we started doing our eyebrows or our makeup or putting ourselves together. So the thing with aging is even if you don't necessarily look your age, what can give you away is you've had all that time to really perfect how you look, how you put yourself together. That gives you an element of being polished. So that in a way can be viewed as mature. Now back to Bella. What she did was preventative maintenance. She's a smart girl. You can get all the cheat codes you want, you can go and get the plastic surgery, but it's really all about a lifestyle change. And that's exactly what Christina Aguilera did. A lot of people think that liposuction is going to be the be all end all solve to their problems. But if you don't take care of yourself, it's scientifically proven that after 7 years, those fat cells grow back. So you think like, oh, the fat cells are going to be removed and I'm not going to have to worry about that. If anything, I'm going to have to worry about like the areas that were in lipo getting bigger because I don't have fat cells. But after 7 years, they grow back. And that's why it's essential to have a lifestyle change. You can do all the cheat codes that are going to put you out of the curve when it comes to aging. But if you don't make that lifestyle change, it's a losing cause and you can lose those gains. I've said this before, but it's a combination of diet, exercise, plastic surgery, intravenous things, water, all these things, stress management that has the individual looking good. Exactly what Christina did. She drank the secret cocktail.
Bottoms up.
She did all the cheat codes and she turned back time. Another thing that she did was she lost a lot of weight. Now, we've talked about how losing weight can change your facial aesthetics in a big way.
Unfriendly reminder that in 2022 and 2023, Adriana was dealing with pregnancy and postpartum when the world bullied her.
She is a Brazilian supermodel, was the highest paid model in the world and Victoria's Secret angel. Fashion magazines called her the most beautiful in the world.
And I just want to say, we're seeing such a big resurgence in Christina's career, if you haven't noticed.
We have an attachment to certain celebrities in eras. Like Britney, we see her with the six-pack abs, the hair, the slave for you, and we're just attached to that image. So to see Xtina look like the way we saw her back in the day, it's like also an attachment to our nostalgia. We like people to look like what they look like in our mind. When I say Aguilera, Xtina, you know, come on over, come on over. And also there was a comment online that made me, all the comments of like, oh my God, she looks so much better now. And someone said, literally, she's been slaying for years. Just because she's skinny now are people getting excited. And I think that's a valid point because she has been looking amazing. Makeup's always great, the hair, but like she lost a lot of weight.
And I really don't think she's any more talented than she already was. I think she's always been talented, a great singer. The only thing she really did, if you think about it, is she got skinny and got her tweaks. And now everyone is like, whoa, Christina this, Christina that, when a couple months ago when she was a lot thicker and performing great and like singing great, we're really checking for her then. It's really funny to me. A lot of people will call me superficial for making this kind of content, but it's what most people pay attention to. If we're being real here, a lot of people are not going to subscribe to your personality if they can't subscribe to what they're looking at first. And in the celebrity arenas, you've got to look the part, you've got to have the looks to sell your bullshit, you've got to be skinny.
The Christina Aguilera resurgence has only proven more to me that it doesn't matter how talented you are, how legendary you are. It literally only matters how skinny you are. Her voice has not changed. Her stage presence hasn't changed. The only thing that has changed has been her weight and the way that her face looks because of the weight loss. Mind you, she's not tall. And Christina has had yo-yoing weight her entire career because she's short. Like, pounds on her is going to mean a world of difference than on somebody like Rihanna. But I'm looking at her get this Paper Mag editorial and I'm just like, people are living for her because she lost weight. And it's like, she's touring. It's almost like she's debuting again. It's crazy. Like, it doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is like being thin. In these arenas, I don't mean to sound like fatalist. I'm talking about like in entertainment. If you want to be like a pop bitch and like on the internet and run up that bag, like, yeah, you need to be thin, babe. The better you look, the more you see.
A couple of years ago, you had to have the BBLs and the big boobs and all these things, but now it's completely different. It's completely changed. And women adapt to the beauty standards of the time to survive. Weight plays a huge part. Not only weight, but like big curves plays a huge part in how young you will look. Bigger curves are associated with a more matronly look. So think of a girl who is 14 and just going through puberty. She's not gonna have the biggest bust like some girls can. And you know what? They get sexualized at a younger age because they have a more mature, matronly look. So if we pay attention to Christina and what she did, she not only reduced her body size, but she reduced her bust size, making her look a lot younger.
Вот я тебе не пара. А кто теперь кому не пара, Володенька?
Someone with such a fragile and thin body, it's almost kind of fantasy for them to have a bigger bust or like proportions, like a small arms, big bust.
It looks like Kim may have reduced the size of her implants. This is her back in 2017, and here she is today.
It's more of a fantasy look, more MMORPG. MMORPG is an MMORPG character, so a video game. So it's typically a body designed for men and usually by men. Now, I'm not saying all women do these things to themselves for men, but for a lot of women, they do. Let's put men aside and take them out of the equation. Skinny, curvy body is highly coveted because it's harder to achieve that for most people. When it comes to like male gaze versus female gaze, a man will love you for that, but a woman will like, it'll work against you in that aspect. I know a lot of you are just like round equals baby face, baby fat, it makes me look younger, but in excess, it just makes you look old. Being overweight makes a lot of people look old. There's only so much baby fat you can have on your face before you start looking like haggard, and then your skin starts drooping, your jawline is like hanging, and then you look older. You don't want to look haggard by the time you're 40 or 50 or even 30. Give up smoking, give up drinking. I know it's been said a lot before, and honestly, this is coming from an ex-daily 420 smoker. Personally, I feel like that's an age me, but I'm not trying to find out either. So that's gotta go if you want to prevent yourself from like really looking bad. If we look at Lindsay Lohan's glow up, the harder drugs you do when you're younger, the more you put your body through, the more damage you do to it. It's going to be harder to reverse that. And even if you reverse it and you look good, would you have looked as good if you didn't do the damage to begin with? So that's why it's better to just really just like stop while you can. Like I said, it's really a lifestyle change all around. Are you getting enough sleep? Because if you're not getting enough sleep, your cells have a harder time regenerating. Another thing that I've learned, which is a little bit more harder for me, is sleeping on your back. I'm a side sleeper, so that's something I'm gonna get really good at, but sleeping on your back minimizes the asymmetries that can be caused in your face from like rolling and turning. Some people have like a flatter face because they slept on one side of their face for a long time. As much as possible, if you can sleep on your back, I think you should start that. I'll probably start that when I'm forced to. I've tried, but it's just a little bit harder for me, but if you can, you should do that. Sleeping in a colder room always helps you sleep better. My ideal room temperature is freezing cold with a warm insulating blanket. I always find I get the best sleep that way. And also, you should start taking your sleeping seriously. So track your sleep, get a journal, get rid of caffeine or alcohol, especially if you're drinking, if like you wake up over 12 p.m., maybe 1 p.m. in the day, and you're having caffeine, you're gonna be up all night. I'm kind of naturally a night owl, and I've been guilty of like, you know, the caffeine just keeping me up. Another thing is the reason why you can't fall asleep while you're just scrolling on your phone is because your phone is emitting blue light. So your brain thinks it's daytime, so it's not gonna wanna fall asleep. So you need to make a room as dark as possible, as soothing as possible. Personally, I like to put on rain sounds, waves, or I personally can't fall asleep to frequency musics or affirmations or voices or anything, but the sound of running water really calms me. So I'll put on rain sounds, thunderstorms, muffled rain sounds, or ocean waves, and that always does the trick. So your bedroom should always be your sanctuary. It should be the one place that you're able to decompress and relax. So you should really avoid working in your bed at all costs, because then your brain starts to associate it with a place that you can figure out everything you've got to figure out, deal with all the issues you have to deal with the stresses of life. So make sure you're not working in your bed. I know it can be really easy to, but your bedroom should be that one place where you get to not think anything. Create a nice sleep routine for yourself that's going to have you looking fresh, young, and vibrant. Stress is a really big cause of aging. It shortens your telomeres, and it's something that I feel like you and we're going to always have to face at some point. Some of us are in high-risk careers. Some of us live really stressful lives. So you have to create a routine that relieves your stress. You have to deliberately go out your way to make your stress less. Yeah. Long-term long-term stress leads to increased cortisol levels, which breaks down your collagen and makes you gain weight, which makes your skin look older. A lot more people are opting for plastic surgery instead of fillers and Botox because of all the information that's coming out about fillers and how they're hydrophilic and they just migrate and they're really unpredictable. And it's so funny to me because like I remember back in the day, like I never really did too much with fillers or Botox. I don't even get Botox. Like I feel like Botox is completely a waste of time. Like jaw Botox for me only lasted 3 months and it was just such a waste of money. So I am not a Botox person, but I have experimented with filler, and my injector back in the day would tell me like, they say the problem with filler is that a lot of people are told that it lasts only a year or 2 years or 6 months. And so they religiously go back for their top-ups and top-ups, overfilling the area, which leads to migration easily. But the thing is, a lot of the studies done on filler were only done for a span of 2 years. So that's why they tell you like, oh, it doesn't, it goes away after 2 years, but it really doesn't. They're not really doing trials 10 years down the line. It's only now that it's really coming out that it's just like moving all over the face and making you look puffy.
So what you're looking at here is an MRI image of a 33-year-old patient who had over 12 cc, which is 12 syringes of hyaluronic acid filler injected to her face over the past 6 years. Now the area that is green is the hyaluronic acid filler. Now, what's interesting here is that when we did volumetric analysis, that means when we measured the amount of filler, the amount of volume that was there, it ended up being close to 28 cc, which is more than twice the amount of filler that was injected. And what this shows us is that hyaluronic acid fillers are hydrophilic. That means they love water, and they also cause tissue expansion.
I feel like a lot of people are opting for plastic surgery because it tends to give a more natural result. I know that's crazy for a lot of you. What the? Like a moth to a flame burned by the fire.
What people are doing to their face in the next year is going to blow you away, because we are entering the undetectable era. The time in aesthetics that we have all hoped for and waited for, where the procedures that people are having done to their face are not detectable. And if you don't believe me, check out Christina Aguilera's page. She basically looks like she did in 2002. And this is a huge change from just 5 years ago, when we saw lots of filler being done. Everyone could sort of tell what you had done. And if they couldn't tell what you had done, they knew that something was different. But remember that aesthetics follows other beauty trends. And right now there is this push for a natural, normal look. So what are people actually doing? A huge push right now is growth factors, whether that be topical growth factors, injected growth factors, some form of a growth factor being used on the face to improve the quality of the skin. And remember, these aren't FDA approved, but they're being used literally everywhere. Fillers are not gone, but people are using biostimulators like Sculptra to build a little bit of collagen in conjunction with things like lasers, peels, microneedling, just again to improve texture, fine lines, wrinkles. But I think there's going to be a push away from these non-surgical or minimally invasive things for the face and neck. And people, I'm just going to be fair here, this is not a sales pitch. People are opting more for surgery, because surgery is taking people away from that sort of unnatural look. Skincare is also getting more advanced. People are using actives a lot more. They're being smart with what they use on their skin, and exosomes and other things are starting to enter skincare, which is questionable, but seems to be promising.
Big thing I've been hearing is a lot of people are getting into peptides, like NAD peptides, copper peptides. A lot of celebrities use that to speed up the cell regeneration process. So that's something that I would probably like to get into, start my NAD, so I look better.
The nurse is going to put in an IV, and it's called NAD. And basically what it does is it's going to flush out some of the toxins. I've abused my body in the past, and now I'm just in recovery process, trying to make sure I'm taking care of my body, taking care of the vessel that God's given me. So
that's another thing. A lot of people who are turning back the clock in such a big way are doing it intravenously. You got to be moving your body every day. It is a no-brainer. And I feel like sometimes on social media, it's kind of overkill with the health thing. And it's just like, work out. Did you work out today? How many steps did you get to? It's so annoying. It's so overkill. And I was kind of wondering, is it overkill? it's kind of done to the point where it's like you're exhausted. You've put yourself in a state of analysis paralysis on what to do, so then you end up doing nothing. On top of your already probably stressful life, you're working a lot, you've got a lot to do. Who's trying to do all that? I don't want to work out a lot of the times, but I have to, because one, it's going to increase my lifespan. It's good for longevity. It actually helps my mental health a lot. And it's shown that if you go for a walk after you eat, like, it'll lower your blood sugar. So even though I think it's overkill sometimes, then you watch shows like My 600 Pound Life.
Try being my size, Amy. You don't know how it is.
You see a lot of people really are inactive. And I feel like America, at least, is a country that's designed for convenience. So a lot of people are taking the escalators instead of the steps. They're taking the elevators. They're driving instead of walking. So the obesity rates in America is quite high. So it's not overkill. You need to be moving your body if you want to be young. When you're 60, you want to be able to bend down. You want to do a jump. You want to have like mobility in your limbs. So you need to be moving your body. Repeated facial expressions. How can we avoid that? We talk, we smile, all these things. How can you avoid that? But at the same time, it really does age you after a while, because it will create permanent wrinkles. So a lot of people have like fine lines coming in here. And this is why I said earlier, I think one of the best things you can do in your 20s, your early 20s, is get plastic surgery. Not necessarily filler or Botox, but plastic surgery. If you need it, go in and fix the problem at the root cause. Because if you think about it, if you had a brow lift at 20, would you necessarily need a blepharoplasty at 40? If you've gotten a brow lift or a facelift or some type of lift to the face, and your surgeon went in and removed the muscle from your forehead, all of a sudden, there's no muscle, so you can't wrinkle your forehead. See where I'm going here? If your brows were lifted and everything was tightened, would you have that excess skin needed to remove at a later age? Also, another thing, excessive weight fluctuations, that leads to sagging skin, because it's pretty obvious, like, skin is a big thing when people lose a lot of weight. A lot of people are just like, what'd you do with the excess skin? Because a lot of it doesn't tighten back, and sagging skin makes you look older. So a big thing that makes a lot of women unattractive, and men too, is a sagging jawline and neckline. A tight jawline and neckline is associated with youth, a younger face. So a lot of people will go and they'll get chin lipo thinking that, oh, that'll fix my problems, I'm gonna get that fat sucked out. And then you're left with loose skin. If you're not getting a laser, if you're not getting a liposuction that tightens the underneath, a lot of liposuction is kind of outdated. So I would say like Vassar lipo or air sculpt is some of the best lipo tightening procedures I've ever seen. But let's say you got the regular kind now. You have an excess of sagging skin. It's just like gobble, gobble, you know? Would you not get a neck lift? Would you not go in and fix the problem at the root? Because at 40, at 50, at 60, now the problem is exacerbated because you never took care of it. I remember seeing an interview where Sarah Jessica Parker was also saying, she's like, yeah, I miss, the first facelift they give you at 40. I miss the one you get in 30s. And now she's like, oh. See what I'm saying here? I know this all sounds extreme, but the Christina Aguileras of the world are doing a lot more than diet and exercise. Okay, I could sit here and lie to you. I could tell you your looks fade don't even matter. Don't even worry about that. We need to cultivate other aspects of ourselves that, cultivate a great life. I could sit here and lie to you. I could be one of those influencers, but I'm giving you the raw, real truth here. And like I said, the only people who say that are people dealing with the repercussions of aging naturally because they never took care of themselves in their youth. Your looks fade. Mine's, I'm gonna look damn good at 60. I'm gonna look amazing for 60. Don't let them sit here and tell you that you're about to look ugly as hell by the time you turn 40, 50, and this, that, and that. Don't let them do that to you. Look at Blanche Devereaux from Golden Girls compared to J-Lo. Look at what 50 used to look like compared to what 50 looks like now. And Human civilization is improving. We're getting better. New stuff is coming out. So if you live in a place like New York or LA or London, yikes. Pollution is a big contributor to aging, so you need to have a skincare routine in place. This is where the best skincare comes in handy. This is why Paris will like skincare, skincare, skincare. Because I will say, I feel like the best my skin ever looks is when I'm like really doing all the things internally to make it look good. I've never been a skincare fanatic. I've always kept it really simple, but because I get sent a lot more skincare now, I'm able to really play around and stuff like that. I actually used Murad deep acne treatment because I was kind of breaking out from going crazy with the sugar, and it actually really soothed and smoothed me today so that my makeup doesn't look, you know, bumpy or anything like that. So we need to be doing our bentonite clays. We need to be doing our acne treatments. We need to be wearing sunscreen. Another one that's said, and it's overkill. But I don't know if you've ever seen those memes of truckers who wore no sunscreen and then one side of their face was exposed to sun over the years and the other was not, or farmers who will be out on the yards and their arms will be like aged and wrinkly, and because they wore pants their legs were supple and smooth. It's a big thing. Pretty much no sun tanning is healthy for you. Pretty much what your skin is doing by tanning is it's producing excess melanin so that you're protecting yourself from the harmful UVB and UVA rays. So sunscreen, we wearing our sun hats, we're covering up when wearing, honestly, when it comes to the long sleeve things, a lot of people like to do that, but like I like to have my legs out and I don't mind if my legs get a little tan, but I always wear sunscreen on them too. Always, always, always leave the house with sunscreen. Make it a routine. Put it on when you just wake up and you wash your face, because even having a window open or having a blind up, you're still getting sun rays coming in. Maybe not as much as direct sunlight, but you're still getting that. So sunscreen, sunscreen, sunscreen. I like La Roche-Posay. They have SPF 100, and I saw some reviews where it's like, it's the only sunscreen that hasn't made the person darker. And like for me, I don't mind getting darker, but my problem is when my face is so much darker than my body. That makes me not the best, not a happy candidate. Back to excessive weight fluctuations. When I was over 200 pounds, I would get these stretch marks, and I literally still have my stretch marks from when I was 200 pounds. And you know what? The skin has never really tightened here, I will say, but I have my stretch marks from when I was over 200 pounds. And when I first got them, they were red. And for the life of me, I could not figure out why they were so red and how to fade them. But I was gaining weight at such a rapid rate that my body was just like stretching and stretching and stretching. So excessive weight fluctuations. I know the food thing is really hard for a lot of people. It's so addictive. And if you're on medications that make you gain weight, it makes it a lot more difficult. Or if you have PCOS, it makes it a lot difficult. But just try your best with the weight thing. Like, it's something we all deal with. Because I talk about this stuff, like, I have to maintain my weight now. And I feel like with my zodiac sign, it's like, I'm the kind of person that you tell me to do something, and if you tell me to do something I was already gonna do, I don't wanna do it. But if you tell me to be skinny, if you tell me I have to be an example for people, I don't wanna do it. I can't get fat no more. I'm not allowed to get fat no more. What if I just wanted to, what if I like wanted to be like bodylicious and thick, one day? I can't do that no more because of the content I make. But also, I've come to realize like, it's really just better for my mental health. To be honest, like the world is so fat phobic, and you gain 10 pounds, you gain 20 pounds, like everyone, like Aaliyah J, for example, they've got fat people fat shaming her for gaining weight. What is that even about? But people act like getting fat is social suicide, and for most people it is. So try your best to not have your weight fluctuate so much. I know it can be hard, especially if you're someone with mood swings. Try your best, try your best. I would say also for me personally, I've more so realized that I am a binge eater. I am not as bad as I was, for sure. And I feel like the way I look is proof of that. But I really am a binge eater, bitch. Like, I am a binge eater. And I've just come to realize that I don't want to binge eat. I don't want to be doing this to my body. I don't want to look in the mirror and have my skin look like shit. So I've really been like getting a grasp on that. I've really literally last week, girl, you cannot put the plate away from me. And honestly, I think like one thing I've noticed like right now, because I've been like really like on my diet and fitness and everything like that, is like I start to get these comments where they're like, I hope you're being safe. Something's a little bit different this time. I hope you're being safe. She's not eating, eat something. I've had doctors like be like, eat something or whatever. Bitch, I eat too much. That's the problem. I'm sorry. Literally yesterday, I had a lot of eggs, a lot of protein, hash browns. I had a Santa Fe chicken salad. Bowel movements, amazing today. Did I feel like crap? Amazing today. The day before that, I had a cinnamon roll. I had egg fried rice, and then I had regular white rice because I couldn't contain myself because I couldn't wait for the like rice to be dehydrated to make the fried rice. So I know it's hard. I know it's hard, and I don't get on here and pretend to be perfect about it. But literally, if you're gonna call me a ED bitch, call me a binge eater. The fact that y'all think like I don't eat, well, thank you. Sometimes it's just your genetics. If you're white cracks, you gotta do more. If you're black cracks, you gotta do more. It's not true that black don't crack. I feel like a lot of you are riding on that, like, oh, my black don't crack. Like, I'm like, my mom at 450 to 3rd. You gotta do things. Do you really want to find out if it cracks? I don't think you do. I don't either. So you need to be doing everything I say in this video. You need to stop telling yourself that and start wearing sunscreen, okay? This is like another one that a lot of people don't think about, but slouching and poor posture. When you think of an old person, they've lost mobility, they can't really walk very far, and they are slouched. So posture. Slouching and being stooped over is gonna age you in appearance. So straighten that back, ladies, straighten that back. How you speak to yourself is everything. Your self-talk is everything. Your negative thinking will cause you anxiety and stress. And as we know from earlier, stress is one of the biggest things that causes aging, in addition to sugar, which glycates the body. Like I saw this video and it was saying how sugar really like cooks the body over time from inside and speeds up the aging process. But negative thinking is really a big thing. Because if you really think about it, there's so like everything is about to take us out nowadays. You can't put sunscreen on because it's gonna give you cancer. You can't do this. The aerosols in the wall. Like if you have an aerosol plug-in in the wall, you might as well be a pack-a-day smoker. Everything. But tell me why there are people who are living to 80 and 90 drinking Hennessy and smoking cigarettes all the time. Sometimes mind over matter. Sometimes it has to do with how you're talking to yourself, how you're speaking to yourself. If you say like, I'm never gonna, like, it's not gonna be the chicken sandwich and it's not gonna be the cigarette that takes me out, the cells of your body over time will believe that. And I feel like I'm gonna recommend a book to you that I read. It's called Don't Believe Everything You Think. And I really like that book because it really was so true. A lot of suffering is caused by thinking too much, thinking too long about something that isn't beneficial for us. So something I always tell myself is like, well, you don't have to think about it. And I'm like, wait, you're right. I don't have to think about it. Like, why am I thinking about it? Like, I don't have to think about it. Like, am I feeling good by thinking about this? Another book I recommend, and it's like one of my favorites, I'm gonna reread it. I feel like you always need to reread material to really like soak up the knowledge and the information. It's The Art of Deliberate Intent by Abraham and Esther Hicks. I feel like that book is a manual on how to think. It teaches you how to think in solutions to fix your problems. So I really love that book, highly recommend that book. I think that's one of the most beneficial thing that anyone can learn is learning how to think in a way that benefits you. As you let that noggin go crazy for a little bit, you start being mean to yourself. It's not a fun time. A lot of these books will teach you not to gossip, but like, girl, you're human. Like, you know, you love a little gossip. I do too. So a lot of these books will teach you not to gossip, and gossiping and like focusing negatively is only like, I don't want to say pushing you away from what you want, but it's not helping you get to where you want, because if you're thinking about what you want, then you're like in the flow state, you're moving downstream. But this is what I will say: learn to be an alchemist. If I am gossiping with a friend, I always go into things with an analytical nature. I like to look at what people are doing wrong so I don't make the same mistake. I like to really sit here and grasp what's going on, where they went wrong, and then I always end it with a good for them. I hope it gets better. So be an alchemist. If you're going to be doing shit that's not good for you, what are you getting out of it? And this could just be anything. It doesn't have to be about gossip. What is the positive thing that we're taking out of this situation, even if it's a little bit more negative? You have to train your brain to pivot things. Yeah. Focus on learning how to mitigate these factors, and you will be turning the clock back effortlessly and instantly. Also, I don't pretend to know everything here, so if you've got tips for me, share it in the comments. Let us in your secrets. Another thing, like, it just came to me, facial yoga is a thing I know a lot of people do. Whenever I'm bloated and I really need it, will pull out the gua sha or the fascia blaster and really just like carve in the cheekbones and stuff. But share your tips and tricks. Like, we want to know. We're all trying to look like a snack by the time we're 40. If you're over the age of 40, like, let us know. And you're looking good, we're 30, like, let us know what you did. Thank you.